So there was no like set in stone moment when I felt that The Art of Attraction was going to be the next album. But I do remember in 2023, after we released Atomic Habits with Brandon and Moss, I remember writing that song name down. Originally it was just a song idea that I had, and I wrote it down in my notes app, and I was like, The Art of Attraction, that it could be cool, but I don't know what it means. And so I hit a really bad writing depression after the EP came out, and I couldn't really write anything. And shortly after, a couple months, we started writing Saboteur and Lana myself with Jordan and Sam from Killicoy. And a couple months after that, I kind of got my spark back of writing. And I noticed a pattern throughout writing all the songs. They all kind of follow this theme of relationships that I've been in, whether it's girlfriends or just friends, buddies, and so I was like, in a way, all of this is a form of attraction. And so I was just like, The Art of Attraction really could be a good album for these songs. And there was only like 5 of them at the time, but those 5 songs really summarize that feeling, and that's kind of how the rest of the album came about. And everything was written, like the atmosphere of the album, everything was written in my room, pretty much, except 2 songs. Everything was written in my room. I would put 2 lights on and I'd just light a candle, and that's how the album was written. Yeah, so I'd like to say this album is completely inspired from a candle that my buddy Andrew had gifted me. So shout out Andrew. I have it written down here. It was an Evening Lux Trilogy Woodwick candle. And honestly, the smell became such a huge inspiration when I started writing and coming out of my little writing depression. So every time I would write a song, I would light the candle and drink a Coke. And once I started doing that, my brain got in the mindset of when I had that scent and taste, it was like, okay, it's time to write. Let's write. And so 10 of the 12 songs were written with that combination of the candle being lit and drinking a Coke. And that's just kind of how the album came together and really helped me be inspired throughout writing the album. So yeah, those are definitely the most vulnerable songs on the album. They're the most personal and upsetting for me. I wrote them in my room months prior to recording them in the studio with the band. And we actually had to stop playing Georgia Queen live because it was too upsetting for me to get through. But yeah, we recorded Georgia Queen with the full band was there and everything, and I had everybody leave the room except for Sam recording me. And same with Feel, I went back a separate day so I could just record it with just me and then Sam recording me. Yeah, those songs carry a lot of emotions when I was singing them, a lot of power through my voice. And I think you can hear that on the record, on those 2 songs. You can definitely hear the power and emotion behind the songs. And that's why I like them so much. Georgia Queen reminds me a lot of a film that I watched after writing Georgia Queen. It's called Reminiscence. It kind of felt like Georgia Queen as a movie, and it was really, really cool. I would recommend it for you guys out there if you like Georgia Queen. Yeah, so everybody's always asking what the album art means. And so when I was looking on like what to do for the album art, I know how to be something important because it's a debut album, and I think album art is almost more important than the music. And so I found this picture and I just loved it. It was the astronaut playing piano, and I was like, I've written majority of this album on my own, and it's been a lot of like isolation and solitude, and it's not a happy album. It's very blue. It's very sad. So I was like, I need to make it blue. So I did a lot of editing. It took like 5 or 6 months to get it how I really wanted it. And when it finally got to the point, I was like, yes, this is perfect. And when I first saw the image, I was like, this astronaut and I are one and the same. He's writing or playing piano by himself, and I'm writing this album majority by myself. And it's not a happy album. It's a very sad album. And so I think that's why the blue is important, because you're just in this ball like a blue room, and you're just like thinking of these thoughts, and it's really a beautiful solitude alone in this blue room writing these songs. And you get to learn a lot about who you really are and what you really think of these situations that you write about. And to me, that's beautiful, and that's why I think that album cover is perfect for the album. So The Art of Attraction, to me, at the time of releasing the album and to now, is completely different. I'd gone to a jazz club that changed that perspective, but what it had meant to me was, the 12 songs are about relationships that I've had in the past, or current relationships, or like relationships with myself, or friendships. So to me, the 12 songs all have meanings of relationships, whether it's about the same person, a different person, myself. All of it is a form of attraction at the end of the day. Like, there's not a song where I'm not attracted to something, And so I just feel like those 12 songs and all the meaning behind the songs is attraction. And to me, that made art, which music. So to me, I think attraction in general is also an art. So I think the art of attraction can either be symbolized as the 12 songs being art about attraction, or just attraction as a whole being art, which is what I believe now after going to a jazz club. Yeah, so I'd gone to a jazz club with one of my friends. We went to one called the Moon Room in Raleigh, and it was a beautiful jazz club, and I really want to go back. But we got there, we had found a spot to sit, and we noticed next to us was a gentleman who was just sitting there alone. We were like, maybe he's waiting on somebody, or maybe he's working here. And a little later, I saw a young lady go and sit with him, and I would look over, and just throughout the night, they got more and more comfortable with each other, and I was just I was fascinated, and I was watching the people interact over here, and I was listening to the people chatting over here. I was watching the old couples dance with the music, and after a while, just kind of I would zoned out, and I started staring at a candle. And I was like, this is beautiful. Watching everybody interact, watching people love one another. This is attraction, and this is an art. I love watching couples interact, or just friendships interact, and I just thought it was beautiful watching everybody interact, because everybody interacts with each other in a different way, and I love that, and I love to take notes on that, and you can learn so much. And so to me, I was just staring at this candle. I was like, this is the art of attraction. The art is people being attracted to each other, and that's how we all come together, just like the songs on the album. And so to me, that's what the album means to me now. I find that beautiful. Yeah, so it's crazy that this whole album was produced, recorded, and written all in my bedroom. I saw a few songs we recorded with Sam and Jordan, but just the freeness and not having time limits and constraints and someone just harping on you for this, it felt so free, and that really helped me build creative blocks to destroy writer's block, and it really helped me shape everything with the band and the album throughout writing it. And Aiden was such a big part of helping me with the album. He wrote a few of the songs like Lying to Myself and Vitellius. He mixed Polaroid Eyes and Neurotic Stranger. And he edited the guitar and bass for over half the album. So him just being able to do that was such a huge help while I edited vocals, and it was just he was such an important piece of this album, and I'm forever grateful for that. But it was such a magical experience just creating a record in your room. Yeah, so if I were to notice one thing that changed about me, it would definitely be my attitude and understanding myself, because I was 18 when I started, and I was 20 when I finished with the album, and so a lot of maturity comes within those 2 years, but also it helped me understand who I was, because those songs are so personal and connected to myself. And so I was able to really learn about myself and really get a new attitude, a better attitude towards things. And it helped me to understand everything and why everything happens. And I think that's so big and something that people don't really think about. They just kind of leave it to the past instead of trying to figure out an issue. And I was able to figure out an issue and work with that. And I think that was a huge thing of why I am who I am today, if that makes sense. So obviously it's an upsetting album, and I really hope nobody can relate to this album, but I know people out there can. And instead of people taking away from it, being like, oh, I can relate to this, what I want people to do is reflect the album, and I want them to reflect themselves, and I want them to look at the album or a song in the album that speaks to them, and I want them to look at it like it's a pond. Because in a pond you see your reflection, and often you can see the stars if it's nighttime, and in the daytime you see the sun. So I want them to look at it like at a pond, and I want them to look at themselves and look at what surrounds them, and see that there's much greater things. And I just think that in every song or every bad situation, you can take something positive out of it, because when you're looking down at that reflection, you see light from either the stars, the moon, the sun. So it's just showing that something greater is still brighter there with you. And so I want people to be able to reflect in that way and not in a sad way. Before I wrap it up here, I just want to give a big thank you to IndieBird for having us on here. I want to give a big thanks to you guys for supporting IndieBird and Six Door Pyramid. It means so much to me and the guys. Just thank you for your support and all the love and keeping up with us. And we got a big year ahead of us. We got some shows in the spring and summer lined up. We just released vinyl for The Art of Attraction, and CDs and t-shirts and vinyl. You can check our socials for that. Send us a DM. Until then, we'll have a merch store at some point soon. Just thank you guys so much. Be sure to stream The Art of Attraction. Let us know what you think. And thank you.